Today we're going to tackle a story that has been stirring up some serious discussion in the banking world. Wells Fargo, up until recently, has been the top player in home mortgages and has been secretly discriminating against its customers.
The United States CFPB has ordered Wells Fargo to pay $3.7 billion for widespread mismanagement of auto loans, mortgages, and deposit accounts. Back in November, the expectation was there would be a settlement of more than $1 billion. If that was the case, that was going to be the largest settlement on record.
That's right, Gloria. This has been happening, and it's not anything to play with. It's super serious, and Wells Fargo has to answer for this. Look, guys, you don't want to miss out on this. Sit back and relax, and we're going to show you how you can do something to prevent this.
Marvin, can you imagine going to the bank to apply for a home mortgage and not getting the same discounts that someone else is getting?
That's unfair, but look, that's what's been happening at Wells Fargo. And you know what? This is not their first rodeo. They've done this before. Look, guys, stay tuned as we get into the details. And you know what? Wells Fargo has had their fair share of controversy in the past. So this is a super serious subject.
Okay, Marvin, this time it's about how they handle the discounts in the mortgage industry. You know, this can significantly affect you. Oh, just think if you have a 15 or 30-year mortgage and you're not getting the proper discount, this can cost you in the long run.
Look how much you would be paying even with a 30-year mortgage. You know, those basis points can make a big difference in your mortgage. All right, Gloria, let's jump into key point number one, industry-wide probe.
Okay, so first thing first. This is not the first time Wells Fargo has been in the hot seat. And it's just not Wells Fargo. There's other banks that have been in this worldwide probe as well, Marvin.
Yeah, it's just Wells Fargo is the biggest player, so they got more focus on them. And during 2008, guess what? They were doing the same thing and worse. They were actually discriminating with subprime loans. These discount rates are set up to make banks competitive with each other. They're mortgage rate discounts. The problem is they were supposed to give people discounts on their APR, which means on your interest rate over that 15 to 30 years. But some kind of way, the CFPB has saw that they had discrimination involved.
This is really, really crazy in my opinion. I can't imagine going to the bank and I can get a lower interest rate and no one offered it to me.
Yeah, you know what I think, Gloria? I think some people are just so glad to get a mortgage and get approved. They're not thinking about all the discounts and asking a bunch of questions because they think, guess what? If I ask too many questions, I might get denied.
Okay, Marvin, let's jump into how Wells Fargo has been in the hot seat in the past.
Right, Gloria. In 2012, Wells Fargo paid more than $184 million to settle federal claims that it charged minorities higher fees and unjustly put them in subprime loans. Then in 2021, they had to pay $250 million for discrimination with mortgages, and just recently they paid $3.7 billion. So what is going on? It seems like it's an obvious problem with Wells Fargo and mortgages and sounds like discrimination.
Marvin, this is really, really crazy. We used to bank with Wells Fargo for years, and I remember when they discriminated against us for no reason at all, just shut our account down. And we ended up getting involved in a class action lawsuit because of it.
Yeah, Gloria, I remember that. It was so unexpected. We had been doing credit card processing with them for years, and then all of a sudden we got a notice during COVID, probably one of the most vulnerable times for businesses, and they said, hey, you got 30 days and we're shutting your credit card processing down. That was like, whoa.
And they didn't even give us an explanation of why. After doing business with Wells Fargo for 5 years with our credit processing, and we did not have any high chargebacks, I just didn't understand it, Marvin. So this right here makes me wonder. Wells Fargo really needs to look at their practices.
I think you're right, Gloria.
Key point number 2, pricing exceptions.
You know, Gloria, it gets more specific about the pricing exceptions. You know, bankers can actually give their customers lower rates on their APR, but it seems like it's a problem here. Are some of the bankers giving white people more discounts than they're giving blacks or Hispanics? So let's dig deeper into this and figure out what the issue is.
So check out this newsreel. This right here speaks volume for really what's going on.
Aaron Braxton is one of the named plaintiffs in a class action lawsuit against Wells Fargo. Braxton says he's one of many who wanted to refinance their home during the early stages of the pandemic, but instead was given the runaround. Braxton, the other plaintiffs, and attorneys say they were discriminated against, citing a Bloomberg News report as evidence.
Black people in particular were trying to refinance their homes, and they were being approved at a rate of 47%. Other banks were approving Black Americans for refinance during the early stages of the pandemic in 2020 at a rate of 71%. White Americans at Wells Fargo were being approved for loans at a rate of 72%.
This is a redlining and lending issue. This right here can affect families and generations later on down the line. You know, this is why we need to take time out and invest in ourselves and repair our credit, because this also goes back to a credit issue as well, Marvin.
And not only repair our credit, maybe some people just need to know how to build their credit. I think there's so much misinformation out there in the public when it comes to Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube as far as how do I build my credit? How does a 700 look like another 700? You know, in the industry, we call it a thin credit file, which means you could have a 700, but you don't have enough items on your credit to get approved for a mortgage.
And if you're having issues with your credit, Marvin and I have an AI tool that can help you repair your credit.
Look, and if anybody's had any experiences with Wells Fargo, please leave comments below so that we can make more videos exposing stuff like this.
Key point number 3, regulatory concerns.
So look, the CFPB noticed that there was a big disparity between Black and female borrowers where they weren't getting these discount rates that everybody else was getting. So that's when they contacted Wells Fargo and noticed, look, there's a disparity and we need to figure out what's going on.
Marvin, did you know that you can ask for a discount?
Well, Gloria, I knew this because I bought several houses. I used to be a real estate investor, but I don't think the average borrower actually knows this.
Well, Marvin, let me tell you, I did not know this. I was always taught that you needed to have good credit and you get a good interest rate. And Marvin, I didn't know the banks were so competitive where you can go and ask for a discount. So what happens is, Marvin, the banker goes to their supervisor and asks for this discount.
Yeah.
And they can discount your mortgage from anywhere from 25 to 75 basis points.
You know, Gloria, it's kind of like a car deal. You know, as you get into the deal, you can ask for more stuff. You can negotiate still. So remember this, when you're going out to buy a house the next time, ask a lot of questions. Be prepared. You know, sometimes people, they spend more time on getting an outfit to go out to a wedding than they do actually doing their homework to buy a house. Don't let that be you. So, you know, according to the U.S. fair lending laws, I want to know, when Wells Fargo found this out from the CFPB, how did they react to this? Let's find out.
Key point number 4, the banker's response.
Wells Fargo did not just sit back and let this go unnoticed. They hired a law firm to investigate their company. So the law firm was supposed to go in and look at the mortgage bankers who had the most volume of mortgages and see, was there a disparity in the borrowers that they were giving discounts to.
Marvin, with Wells Fargo being the #1 player in the mortgage industry, this just makes me wonder, was this a training issue or was this an issue on their employees' part?
You know, they created a program, Gloria. They spent $100 million on the Special Credit Purpose Program to help minorities. So, you know, like you brought up a good point. It could be a training issue with everybody that's doing their job, maybe not doing their job correctly. You know, sometimes you can hire employees that don't understand what they should be doing, or are they not offering it to the customers?
And Marvin, also a key fact in that, especially when you're talking about employees and you're talking about training, you know, a lot of times these big corporations set these high goals for their employees. These are sales goals. So a lot of times they could be looking at, hey, this borrower has a better profile than this borrower, and I know that I can get them closed. So let me offer them more discounts so that I can make my sales quota.
You know, Gloria, I think that could be true. And I also think as a community at large, we should work on empowering ourselves to have better credit, to know more about credit, because this could be a credit issue, which means most of the borrowers don't know what's missing in their credit profile to make it stronger to get these discounts.
Okay, Marvin, this special purpose credit program, is that really enough? we really need to just take time out and look at our credit, get ourselves in a better position. Because I remember, Marvin, when we were looking for a house, we took the time out to make sure all the boxes were checked. Did I know that you can ask for a discount? No, I did not, but I made sure all the boxes were checked. Where was my credit in good standing? Have I paid all my bills on time? How was my utilization? We're finding out that this is a worldwide problem within the banking industry, and a lot of it, Marvin, falls on us by making sure our credit is correct. We just did a video regarding Navy discriminating against the customer. So we see this all the time. So we have to make sure that we get ourselves in position so that we can make a change.
You know what, Gloria? I think you're exactly right. Spend time getting prepared to get a mortgage. Just don't up and say, I want to buy a house. Prepare yourself and make sure your credit is where it needs to be.
And if anyone had an experience with Wells Fargo, Navy Federal, or any other bank, drop a comment below. We would love to hear what your thoughts are and your experience.
And that'll help us make future videos.
Key point number 5, Wells Fargo's position. Well, Wells Fargo has spoken up and said that they have a strong commitment to fair policies and also to minorities.
You know, Gloria, I just have to look at it. You know, since 2008, they put minorities in subprime loans. They had to pay an ungodly amount of money in 2012. They just paid $3.7 billion less than a year ago. It seems like they're a problem, but, you know, maybe they're trying to put their money where their mouth is. I just wonder, you know how they said back in 2008 they were too big to fail? Are they too big to jail?
Marvin, that's a very good point. And one of the things that really bothers me with this is that Wells Fargo has been in the hot seat several times and have paid out not only millions but billions of dollars for unfair practices. So that just makes you wonder about this bank.
And it also lets us know as consumers, there are more banks out there. I just want you guys to know, Gloria and I have made several videos about banks that you can start relationships with.
And make sure you share this video. Someone may be in the market of purchasing a home and they need to do all of their research to make sure that they're going with the right bank. There's so many banks out there, but we just want to bring it to light of what's going on in the banking industry.
So you know what I want you guys to do? Check out this next video. I'm Mr. Smith.
And I'm Mrs. Smith.
And we're here to help empower your finances.